Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here, playing Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I'm going to be showing you the ultimate resource farming location by boosting convoys. And this method is going to get you anywhere from 150,000 to 170,000 resources per hour. Just a couple of quick notes before we get started. You'll probably want to save this to somewhere closer to the end of the game. You're not going to get much use out of this boosting method early on until you have more skill points than resources, and that's what's holding you back. Also, this boosting method only works in solo. You cannot replicate it in co-op with a partner. Alright, so the first step is to fast travel to the Villa Verde Alpha checkpoint. And once you're there, you'll need to do a couple of things to your loadout. Number one, the most important is to be able to have an EMP drone, preferably level 2 or 3, but you can still make it work with level 1. Another thing you'll need is the grenade launcher skill, as well as the grenade launcher attachment on your gun. Probably an assault rifle if possible. If you don't have this combination, it's still possible, but will take a little bit more effort. You might die a couple of times and it might be a little bit harder, but feel free to use things like frag grenades or just regular bullets where you shoot enemies with them. Now here comes the interesting part. As soon as you spawn at Villa Verde Alpha, you can open up your map and there will always be a convoy directly next to you worth 5,000. Now, it's always going to be a random resource, one of the 4, and it tends to cycle very often, so you can't actually pick exactly what you're going to get, but you can get exactly 5,000 every time. Now, you're going to want to mark that convoy and then use that little check mark that I put on my map as a reference point and grab a motorcycle and drive there as fast as possible. I'm going to show you the optimal route here through the river and then parking at the end of the fork in the road and hiding behind the tree. Now, you don't have a lot of time to pull this off, but you should get into a good groove and be able to easily do it. Once you park, get behind the tree and switch your gun to the grenade launcher mode. Then, throw up your drone and hit the middle of the convoy with the EMP blast. Make sure you're not spotted by the enemies as you're using your drone. As soon as you EMP the middle convoy, the vehicles at the back and the front should also stop along with it. Now take your grenade launcher and quickly put 3 grenades into each car, 3 in the front and 3 in the back. Now you'll switch back to your regular gun, run up to the convoy, kill the passenger, and sometimes the driver will also die, but occasionally you'll also have to pull him out. If he's still alive, pull him out, take him out, tag the supplies. If done correctly, all of the enemies are dead and you've gotten the supplies. You're now able to fast travel back to Villa Verde Alpha without being alerted by any enemies, which would have normally prevented you from fast traveling. Now, the beauty of this is that when you're in solo and you hit one of those loading screens that you just saw, the world resets exactly to the same thing every time. Meaning that now that we fast travel back to Villa Verde Alpha, that exact same convoy will be in the exact same spot. This time it might just be a different resource. So we're just going to rinse and repeat. Run forward, get on the motorcycle, park behind the tree, hit the convoy with the EMP, take out the front and back vehicles with the grenade launcher, take out the passenger and the driver, and then tag the supplies. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You can do this at least once every 2 minutes. If you're fast, it'll only take you 1 minute and 45 seconds, including loading times, which is over 150,000 resources per hour. Just a few more important notes. The reason we're hiding behind the tree at the beginning is to make sure we don't get spotted by the convoy while we're on our drone. It'll also allow us to have a lot of cover while we're taking out the trucks at the front and the back so that we're not getting hit by the machine guns non-stop. Another important thing to stress is the location at which I meet the convoy, right at that little fork in the road. It's pretty important that you meet the convoy here, because if you meet the convoy further up the road, there's a base, and then after you actually take the convoy and take out all the enemies, you'll constantly be hunted and you'll need to escape either via motorcycle or helicopter, which will add anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute and 30 seconds to your loop every time you do it. Now, I also want to leave you guys with a few more subtle notes. Now, these are things that may or may not happen depending on kind of how you do things, and I just want you guys to be fully prepared. What I would recommend is that when you do set off your EMP drone, that you do it about halfway through the convoy with the goal of hitting the actual main vehicle with the resources as well as the vehicle in the back. If you don't hit the vehicle in the back with the EMP, sometimes he'll ride up right into the resource car, and then when you explode him with grenade launchers, you might sometimes also explode the resources truck. And although you can still tag the supplies if the truck is completely exploded, it'll only give you half the points. So for the sake of efficiency, we're going to try to not let that happen as much as possible. And the best way to do that is to make sure you hit the back car with the EMP to create enough distance between that car and the main car so that you don't damage them when you're taking them out. Hopefully that makes sense. Another thing you may want to keep an eye out for is the bushes near the road. They'll actually sometimes eat up your grenades, so make sure that you're not wasting your grenades on the bushes. Another thing you'll want to sometimes notice is that occasionally you'll have to take the driver out of the car. Occasionally he'll get out on his own. It depends purely on how much damage the truck has taken. And if he does come out on his own, you don't have to kill him in order to be able to tag the supplies or fast travel to Villa Verde. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that everything I do in this video, I do for a reason. I use the motorcycle because it's the fastest. I use the location because I can make sure I don't get hunted after I take out the convoy. I use the EMP to make sure the convoy is completely stationary. You have to take out the convoy trucks in the front and the back first, or else it won't let you tag the supplies. And then you have to kill all of the enemies to make sure that you're not engaged or hunted in order to be able to fast travel back to Villa Verde. Again, once you get all of these parts moving and go as fast as possible, including loading times, this should take you about 1 minute and 45 seconds, capping out at about 170,000 resources per hour. Honestly, if you boost it for an hour, maybe 2 or 3 hours, you should have more than enough resources to get you through the entire game as long as you actually do the main missions. This should definitely help you max out your skills later on in the game, where you may notice that you have a lot of skill points, but it feels like resources are coming so slowly, especially after you've taken out the main bosses, which kind of give you the most resources. Once you have all the resources you need and you have all the skill points you need, all you got to do is buy all the skills in the skills menu in order to unlock a whole bunch of achievements or trophies. You'll unlock one for maxing out your drone, you'll unlock one for maxing out one branch, and you'll unlock one for maxing out every branch. And that's going to be some of the hardest, most grindiest achievements or trophies in the game. Before we end off, I do want to thank my friend Loveboat Gopher, who helped me perfect this method. Special thanks goes to DarthDave89 and Dropped at Artemis for supporting the show on Patreon. I hope this video was informational. Drop a like and share it with a friend if it was. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to leave you with one more clean run of the method. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Firing.
Shitballs.
Escort vehicle is destroyed. Convoy has a non-armored vehicle along the ride.
Movement on the road. Looks like a new Unidad convoy. I'm seeing troops plus a radio truck.
We can take out the convoy and turn the radio gear over to the rebels.
Radio gear's secure.